Howdy folks, welcome to part 2 of A Runner's Tale. Not sure what I'm going to call this one yet, possibly the early years. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the one. Anyway, I'm in Grimsby again at the King George V Stadium. I'm on a track again. This is the second time this decade, I think. Anyway, when I was here back in the 70s, this was cinder. Now, lovely tartan track, 8 lanes, fab. I think I might do a lap, walk around, tell you a few stories. Started running when I was at school, Wintringham School, which is over there a mile or so. Introduced to it by physics teacher, games teacher, Mr. Michael Hobden, Mike Hobden, or Hobbo, as everybody calls him. He nagged and nagged and nagged. You should run, you should join the club, you should be an athlete. I'm going bird watching. I used to do a lot of bird watching, still do, and I used to cycle a lot. I'm not talking 10, 15, 20 miles. As a kid, I was doing 50, 60, 70 miles on my bike every weekend. That's per day. So when I did come down to this track for the first time, I had quite a good cardiovascular system. And my thighs were not what they should have been, but better than expected. I'm on the back straight, near the 200 metre start, or if you're a middle distance runner, 3,000 metres and 5,000 metres. I'm having to think about this. You know, half laps, 7.5 laps, 12.5 laps. I actually raced a 200 metre race here, my one and only 200, on cinders, about 25 seconds, as a 17, 18-year-old, with no sprints training whatsoever. What's this behind me? Looks like a steeplechase pit. I did one steeplechase, 3,000 metres, club championships. Never again. Hated it. It was horrible. I can't jump over a matchbox, let alone a bloody steeplechase barrier, and forget doing water jumps. I'm getting this lap done. I'm at the 100 metre start now. I do a lot of lurking around 100 metre starts nowadays as a athletics photographer, but you'd have seen those pictures. You better have. If you haven't, they're on Flickr. Over 100,000 pictures now. I never did a 100 metre race. Bit too late to start. The very first time I came down to King George Stadium here, it was club night, Grimsby Harriers club night, Wednesday nights. And it was always club run, 10 miles from here, out to Cleethorpes, along the prom, maybe along the beach as well in the summertime. Then North Sea Lane, Humberston Avenue, and back here. 10 miles was a hell of a lot further than I ever run previous to that. But I got stuck in. I was only 17, lots of senior athletes there, vastly experienced, but it was a challenge. I'm up for a challenge. Well, I used to be. I couldn't give a shit nowadays. I think that's enough of King George V Stadium for now. Let's head out onto the club run route. Over to Cleethorpes, the pier, the prom, the beach. See if I can find somewhere to park. Maybe get some fish and chips. I'm told there's a good new chippy there on the pier. I'm getting a bit peckish. How many vlogs do you see of people talking to camera in cars or near their cars, setting off on a journey in their car, recording it on video? Loads of them. So here's another one. I'm in my car, and that's it. Welcome to Cleethorpes. I'm standing on the top of Ross Castle. That is a first for me. In all the years I lived here, from 1966 to 78, I never once came up here. I'm exploring. It's not really a castle. Anyway, it overlooks Cleethorpes Beach, Cleethorpes Pier, Cleethorpes Prom. We used to race down here. Actually, only training, but for me it was a race. Now I'm standing on the top of Ross Castle, overlooking Cleethorpes Beach, Cleethorpes Pier, and the Humber Estuary. And it's packed around here today. It's December 30th in the afternoon. You know, I'd have thought people might have been at home, drunk, or feeding themselves, or shopping. But this place is packed. I'm hoping to go into the pier later. There's a new fish and chip shop over there. Supposed to be very good. I think the tide's coming in, and there's a lot of boats moving, or should I say ships, big ones. This is the busiest port in the UK. We've got Grimsby docks, Killingham docks, Hull. It is busy, busy, busy. So that is what we're going to call Cleethorpes Beach. There's a little bit of sand and a lot of mud. Looks like the tide is coming in. I think the last time I was down here, I was doing a photo shoot with two-time Olympian Anthony Whiteman, who lives just down the road. That was for Athletics Weekly. That was 2 years ago, I think. We had a front cover. Well, he had a front cover. I made it down to the prom. There's the beach. There's a rather large ship out there in the estuary. I think it's heading over to Rotterdam. Goes from Hull. It's one of the world's largest ferries. Not the prettiest thing in the world, but you know, it's heading out. Now over there is Spurn. There's a lot of ships wait there to come in and out of the Humber. Now that, I think, is where I'm going to have some fish and chips. You might notice a couple of donkeys, all dressed up for Christmas. I just noticed the sign on the right, no dogs allowed from Good Friday to the 30th September. It's heaving with them today. It's the winter, doesn't matter. Tides will flush it all away. Just made it to Cleethorpes Pier. Believe it or not, this is the very first time I've ever been on here. Such a wild life I've lived. Now then, check out this fish and chips. That's a medium. It's massive. I'm going to enjoy this. All gone, finished. That was fabulous. That was just a medium. And I'm stuffed. So anyway, if you're ever feeling a bit peckish, pop in here. Totally recommend it. And it's a good price as well. $4.99 for that fish and chips. Fab. Very tasty. Lovely batter. Double dip chips. Now for all you bird watchers out there, I know there's a few. There's some pretty good bird watching along here. Believe it or not. Lots of seabirds, gulls, wading birds. A knot, 2 knots just came in below me. Just by that gull. Winter plumage. As I was walking along the prom, I noticed this big sign. Cleethorpes has done really well in recent years in its Britain in Bloom contest. Never thought of it that way. Oh, and sandcastles. Continuing my walk down the prom. It's about halfway here. This is where the lifeboats launch. And that's where Tony Whiteman cools down after his workouts. Just sticks his legs in the water there, cools down. Look in the other direction. It's absolutely heaving down here today. Down towards what used to be the swimming pool. It's now a leisure centre. Back then it was an outdoor pool. But speed really picked up down here when we were doing our club run. It really was a case of first to the end. It's a good job I've only got a little clip-on microphone today. Otherwise I'd be picking up some rather bad language. Just had to delete one clip. Some young boy went by effing and blinding. Anyway, the tide is definitely on its way in. There's not a lot of beach left. In the summer, once we got past the leisure centre down there, we'd head out onto the beach for a couple of miles till we get to the end of what is called Humberston Fitties, and then it'd be along North Sea Lane. Another mile-long hammering session. No mucking about back then. I think that's about it for today. One last look at the pier and the Humber. I wonder what I'll do in part 3. I'll have to think. Now then, been having a bit of a think. I think the next episode I might show you the insides of the diary, which I showed you briefly last week. Might talk about some actual athletics, some training. In the meantime, time for a bit of bird watching, I think. And having grown up by the sea, can't ignore these guys. Or these. I made it back to my car. This part of Cleethorpes is all strange to me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed part 2 of A Runner's Tale. The early years, I think I'll stick with that. Rain has started, my hair's a mess, the light's going, time to call it a day. Give it a thumbs up if you like this. Do subscribe. I'm up to double figures now. Thank you very much, and toodles.